The Minnesota Timberwolves right now are my favorite to win the NBA championship. With the Nuggets and Thunder going to a Game 7, they get an extra 4 days to rest and prepare, even though last time that happened, it didn't necessarily work out great in Game 1 of that Warriors series. But with the Celtics and the Cavs going down in the East, I think the Wolves are better than both the Knicks and the Pacers. It's debatable, but I think they are. They're probably pulling for the Nuggets to win because they have a much better matchup against the Nuggets than they do the Thunder. They've owned the Nuggets this year. They're 4-0 against them. Obviously, they beat them last year in the playoffs, and then I'd say they got better this offseason. And then even with the Thunder, they've split with them this season. The Nuggets are making the Thunder look human. They're making them look normal. And then Minnesota can come in and capitalize off that. But like I said, they've split with them this season. And then in the year 2025, they're 2-1 against the Thunder. And that's without Julius Randle. They did play him back at the beginning of December and lost. So 2-2 on the season. But still, this is a Wolves team. They have 8 starters. They go deep. And there's not a better 1-2 punch in basketball right now than Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle. And maybe that's a scorching hot take because there are a lot of great duos in the NBA playoffs left. But Anthony Edwards has been on one. Versus the Warriors, he put up about 27 points per game to go with almost 9 rebounds and about 5.5 assists per night. Remember, this is the guy that led the NBA in three-pointers made this year with 320. And he's known as a downhill driver. He's known as a guy that can get to the rim, yet he led the league in three-pointers made this season. More known for this, right? Blowing past defenders and finishing at the top and usually creating a highlight with it. But now he's added that next element to his game, and this is absolutely elite. There's one guy that is better than Anthony Edwards this year at pull-up threes in the NBA, and he's the greatest shooter of all time. But Ant can also get to his spots, identify mismatches, and he's got a very high IQ on the offensive side of the ball. Look at this right here. This is supposed to be a stagger screen on the weak side. Rui Hachimura does a fantastic job. He's going to jump this and make Ant go backdoor. And obliges, cut right back door, and there's no help from the Lakers, so Rui ends up getting beat. Now, you also can't let him catch and shoot, because as good as he is off the pull-up, he's even better catching and shooting. Obviously, 41% from the catch and shoot on 2.2 attempts. It's just easier. That's why I said obviously. And especially when there's a guy like Luka closing out where he's probably thinking you're going to blow by and then you just pull up and knock it down. It's crazy how good of a three-point shooter he has become in just a single offseason. Although it's been a gradual progression, yes. But, I mean, he's up to 40% from 3 on 10 attempts. He also cooks mismatches, like right here. We really going to put Gabe Vincent on him? I mean, what are we doing? He's just going to quick snatch back and knock down a pull-up 3 with ease. I mean, that wasn't even hard. And then Luka, traffic cone, couldn't guard him in a phone booth, goes right downhill and finishes over the top. And then watch Luka once again right here. He's going to complain to the ref, and as he's complaining to the ref, he's going to get dunked on. Ant-Man, he called him out. He sent the spider web at him. He sent the 3-ball at him. And yeah, there's a legitimate conversation for Anthony Edwards becoming the face of the NBA if he wins a ring this year. At just 23 years old, he's obviously, very loud in the media, a great social media presence, and now he's getting it done on the biggest stages, taking down Luka, taking down LeBron. I mean, look at the list of legends he's knocked off. Last year, it started with Kevin Durant and then Nikola Jokic, then LeBron James, a top 2 player of all time, also took down D-Book and Luka in the process. But I mean, we're talking about a top 3 scorer of all time in KD, a guy that's got 3 MVPs already, should be 4 after this season, and then the guy in the GOAT conversations. He's beat them all, and he's 23 years old, taking the Wolves to the first back-to-back conference finals appearance in the history of the franchise. This is a team that didn't make the playoffs for 20 years before Ant-Man arrived in town, and he is taking them to the promised land. Well, not quite the promised land yet, but he is hooping right now. And another guy that is absolutely hooping, Julius Randle. They are 27-6 since he returned from injury. And that's no coincidence. He has been hooping. In the playoffs, he's averaging 24 points a game, 6 rebounds, 6 assists in 38 minutes, and the Wolves have an 8-2 record in these playoffs. He has been on another level. He has taken his reputation from playoff choker to playoff riser by shooting 51% from the field, 35% from 3, and this is where he is so good with Anthony Edwards. Versus Golden State, he averaged 25.2 points a game, 7.4 assists, and 6.6 rebounds. And this is why they're such a great duo. He can attack downhill, draw the defense, and find Anthony Edwards for the wide open catch and shoot 3. That's why they're arguably the best duo left in the playoffs. I know there's a lot of great duos left right now, but these two guys are playing the best basketball of their career, arguably, at the perfect time. Versus the Lakers, he shot 39% from beyond the arc on 5.6 attempts per game and was hitting stuff like this over Luka Doncic. Ridiculous. And then he loves to play bully ball, getting downhill at about 6'9", 250 pounds. When he goes to the rim, nobody wants to get in front of that because he is a load coming downhill. Pause. And then you got Jalen McDaniels, who played really, really well in that Lakers series. He's always the point of attack defender, and he's very good at what he does. He averaged 17.4 points per game versus the Lakers, about 6.4 rebounds, 38 minutes per game in this series because he had his hands full with Luka Doncic. He didn't really slow him down, but he did enough to where the Wolves could win this in 5. There is no hiding mismatches against this Wolves team. Luka had nowhere to hide because Jaden McDaniels was just going at him all series long. Between McDaniels, Anthony Edwards, and Alexander Walker, they had too many guards for Luka and Austin Reeves to be able to go up against on the defensive side of the ball. Versus the Lakers, he shot 57% from the field and 38% from 3. Ridiculously good averages and efficiency because that's what a lot of his field goal attempts looked like. Just right there at the rim, pretty wide open because it's a blow by. He's a 6'9" wing with 7-foot wingspan, can guard pretty much anybody in the league. If they end up facing the Nuggets, then it'll be Jamal Murray in a straitjacket for the second straight year, even though I love Jamal Murray. And if they end up facing the Thunder, he'll draw the assignment of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Now, as for Rudy Gobert, had a really good Game 5 versus the Lakers, obviously, but there's been some off-the-court stuff that he is going through. Don't want to speculate there, but definitely an interesting point to take with us here into this Western Conference Finals series. On the playoffs, he's averaging 9.6 points a game, 8.3 rebounds, 1.3 blocks in 28 minutes per night, and has been playing some pretty solid basketball as of late. Does get played off the floor from time to time, but he was great defensively in the first round versus the Lakers, being able to switch out on the perimeter and then doing stuff like this. I mean, it's ridiculous. He was also pretty solid against the Warriors, but he did get run off the court a little bit during that series. Now, Naz Reid. I'm making a prediction right here, right now. If they play the Thunder, we're going to have a Naz Reid game in Game 1. Versus Oklahoma City, last time they played him, he had 27 and 13 to go with 7 assists. The last 3 times he's played Oklahoma City, he's averaging 24 points per game, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal, and has a 2-1 record during that time span. They were also playing Jalen Clark, Terrence Shannon Jr., and Rob Dillingham for a lot of these games because guys like Mike Conley, Dante DiVincenzo, and Julius Randle were missing time. And they still went 2-1 against the Thunder, who were the best team in the league at that time. For the playoffs, Naz Reid is averaging 11 points, 3.6 rebounds, 1.7 assists per game. And those numbers might feel a little bit down, but he's shooting 53% from the field and 47% from 3, which is plenty good on the averages there. And he does stuff like this. At 6'10", 250, there's a reason they call him Big Jelly, because he'll get rebounds, throw it between his legs, and then go up over Jalen Williams and finish the layup. I'm calling it. Naz Reid, Game 1. It's going to be the Naz Reid game. And I'm really excited for the Wolves here in the Western Conference Finals. The Western Conference Finals are going to be a ton of fun. The East, it's an old rivalry, but the West, I cannot wait. With that being said, that's going to be it for today's video. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to hit the like button, leave me a comment down below, and hit that subscribe button. We're trying to hit 30K by Memorial Day. It's a little bit ambitious, but I think we can do it. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching today's video.